Next up, we have one of the most underrated games in America being played. We have number 21 ranked Baylor, who currently is 4-0, taking on Oklahoma State, who's ranked 19th and also is 4-0. Oklahoma State enters this game as a 3.5-point underdog. This game is going to be played 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. And I have a little bit of a problem with this game because I don't understand why this game isn't played in a primetime slot on ABC at 7:30. Like, I don't really understand why Indiana and Penn State is being broadcasted to, American-wide audience when Indiana hasn't really been all that good. And it's nothing wrong with Penn State, but I just feel like this is a better matchup if you're going to put it on ABC. I kind of feel like this game deserves the primetime slot, or even Georgia or Arkansas deserves the primetime slot. I don't really understand why this game is being played on ESPN2 when this game really should be played on ABC. But, I'm not the dude who does the scheduling. But if I was, making the scheduling for what time these teams should play and what channel they should play on, I probably would have these two teams playing on ABC. And I think the reason for that is because I don't really think a lot of people have been paying attention to these two teams. Baylor has surprised a lot of people this year. Baylor head coach Dave Aranda has led a quick turnaround. Remember, Baylor was 2-7 last year in 2020 when he was taking over for Matt Rule, who currently is the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. And I didn't expect Baylor to be that good this year. So you look at Baylor, the fact that they're 4-0 is really impressive. And you can't say Baylor hasn't been tested, they haven't played anybody, because they beat Iowa State last week. Now, I still don't really know how good of a team Iowa State is, but that's still a very big victory for this Baylor program. Now, it wasn't really a pretty win. They got the win. Despite being outgained 479 yards to 282 yards. You also had Iowa State, who had more first downs than Baylor, 27 first down to Baylor's 15 first downs. They also lost in the time possession battle. Iowa State held the ball for 35 minutes. And on top of that, Iowa State ran more plays than Baylor. Iowa State ran 73 plays to Baylor's 52, but Baylor was still able to pull off the upset. And when you look at Baylor's defense, I think what makes Baylor's defense so underrated is the fact that they're really good at creating havoc plays. Now, havoc plays are, plays when somebody tackles the running back behind the line of scrimmage. Basically, they're plays that are made by the defense that result in a negative loss, pretty much. And Baylor right now currently is second in the Big 12 in havoc plays. They create havoc plays 18.2% of the time. That's second best in the Big 12. Baylor also has a really balanced offense, okay? You got a really good quarterback in Bohanna. He's completed 73% of his passes, 823 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, no picks. He's also ran for 4 touchdowns, 112 rushing yards. You look at the two running backs they have, and Tristan and Arbram Smith, I can't talk, man. I need to drink some water, man, but I ain't got no water. But anyway, this is a pretty good and solid Baylor football team, man. You look at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has changed a lot, because I remember when you think of Oklahoma State a couple of years ago, they were throwing the football around. They didn't play any defense. And now we fast forward to 2021, Oklahoma State, they're actually running the football and they're playing great defense. I can't remember the last time we ever said that about Oklahoma State. Oklahoma has changed their identity so much over the last couple of years, man. Can you believe that Oklahoma State is 10th in America when it comes to running the football? And I'm not talking about rushing yards per game. I'm talking about running plays being called. They call running plays 64% of the time. I remember a time when we rarely saw Oklahoma State running the football. They were always throwing it all over the place. Remember when they had Mason Rudolph and James Washington? Now it's just so crazy how much Oklahoma has changed, man. They run the football and they play great defense. It's really crazy. Meanwhile, everybody else in college football is throwing the football all over the place and playing subpar defense. Really crazy. Look at Spencer Saunders. Spencer Saunders has played pretty well this year, and Mike Gundy gave him a lot of praise in his press conference this week. He was asked about, the improvement that Spencer Saunders has made. He said that Spencer Saunders has improved a lot compared to this year versus last year, and he had a very good game against Kansas State. He was 22 of 34 for 344 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. You also look at Jalen Warren, who I think is their best playmaker on offense. He leads the team in rushing yards with 387. He's averaging 4.9 yards per carry, and he has 4 touchdowns on the year. Now, Mike Gundy expects this game to be close. He was saying that also in his press conference. He gave a lot of praise to Dave Aranda and this Baylor football team, and he thinks that this game most likely is going to be decided in the fourth quarter. He also still feels like this offensive line for Oklahoma State has a way to go. They're playing solid, but they're still not up to the level that they want to see. And when I look at Baylor, okay, you look at that Iowa State win. Iowa State was really close to pulling off that victory. So I want to see if Baylor is going to end up being in a letdown situation, because Baylor is coming off a very big win against a ranked opponent, and this program, looks like it's trending upward. So this could be the perfect time for a letdown spot if you are a Baylor fan. And Oklahoma State is a 3.5-point favorite going into this game. So I'm probably going to end up going with Oklahoma State to win this game. When I look at Oklahoma State, I really like their defense. I think their defense is going to be able to give this Baylor offense a pretty good test, because Iowa State has a pretty good defense, but I think that Oklahoma State's defense this year is going to be really good. I think they probably are going to end up having the best defense in the Big 12 this year. I like their defense a lot. I'm really confident in it, and I also like how Baylor's offense has played, but, I really think that Oklahoma defense is going to have a coming out party in this game. So I'm going to take Oklahoma to win. I'll say they'll win this game 31-24 is my final score prediction in this game.